You got one off the plate, but I don't think it's going anywhere in Modern anytime soon.
Well, and a bunch of people were happy with the new format announcement.
Yep.
Because they go back to playing all their cool basics.
Right.
Instead of Snowlands. So it was almost like 2 wins for me.
Right.
Because I hate that card.
At least until Pioneer Masters comes along and just shuts down that angle.
Ooh.
So Zachary with a fairly good, aggressive little start here with an early Tarmogoyf and Graveyard loaded up already.
Yeah, this is a start with...
Drake, though, going to produce a lot of artifacts, a lot of Astrolabes, Mox Opal into Thopter Foundry, and that'll do a lot to blunt the offense from this Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, those Astrolabes are so good. They cantrip for 1 mana, they fix your mana, and then they just turn into 1/1 chump blockers that gain you life.
They fuel your Mox Opal. They just do everything this deck wants. Glad I bought my foils early. Here's an Oko. Some Zachary Fleisher. That's going to go ahead and make an Elk. There we go. Thank you, Drake, for cleaning that up. Oh, you thought Thopter Foundry would be a problem? Oko.
Well, some
you think Urza is a good card? Oko.
No, Urza is a good card.
Oko. I'm just going to sit here and say Oko all weekend.
Yes, you are. And most of the time, you're going to be right for saying it.
Drake Sasser going off, though, using the mana from Urza to go ahead, play an Ensnaring Bridge, tapping that to play a Pithing Needle, tapping that to play a Spellbomb. Yeah, that card's pretty good. I guess you're right, Craig. And it looks like that is going to be enough to take down game 1 for Drake Sasser. Zachary Fleisher scoops him up, and we head to game 2. And you see the problem. Like, here's another deck ostensibly trying to do, like, fair-ish things in Sultai Death Shadow. And when one of these linear decks puts together its pieces, it looks foolish. It just can't keep up with what they're doing.
Well, also, the Urza decks end up doing so many things each turn, where they look at tons of cards, they deploy tons of cards out of their hand, and, like, yeah, Oko is a great card, but when you're playing 1 card a turn to try to answer your opponent, and they're playing 3 or 4 cards a turn, they're just going to snowball you. Eventually, one of their big payoffs is going to slip through, and you're not going to win those games.
Right. I think you're exactly right, and that's long been the problem with playing nonlinear strategies in Modern. I don't see a lot of real targeted hate in the sideboard for Zachary Fleisher. There's 1 Collector Oof, and then some cards that like have some marginal utility. Plague Engineer's fine. Disdainful Stroke, might want to leverage that. But nothing really super aggressively going after Urza as far as I see.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting. So coming into this weekend, we all thought that Urza was top dog, right? It's the big deck to beat. It's the tier 1 deck, and then everything else is kind of tier 2 for a while. So I'm just a little surprised when I see, like, Zachary show up with a deck that doesn't seem to have a very dedicated, hateful sideboard plan.
I'm there with you. Let's see if he can find a way to leverage this matchup. I will point out Drake does have 2 Okos in the main deck. No Gilded Goose, though, for Drake Sasser. Not on board with that innovation quite yet.
Yes, so some of the decks we see shaving Thopter Foundries, making room for some of these other cards. I think Drake is still on this more
classic.
Yeah, more classic, a little more mid-rangey, a little more control-ish build of the deck.
Yeah, I think this hard push into Gilded Goose, multiple copies of Oko, that's a Lotus Box thing. And I expect mostly Lotus Box players to be doing that this weekend. Drake, of course, playing for Team Nova. Well, there's that 1 of Collector Oof.
Could be big.
Yeah, good grab for Zachary Fleisher. Let's see if Drake Sasser can find the out. Of course, the most famous one, Oko. You're an elk. You're an elk. This is an elk. Death's elk. Collector elk.
Everyone's an elk. You're just bequeathing elkhood upon everyone.
Right. Good start here for Zachary Fleisher. Early Death Shadow, Collector Oof, holding down Drake's answers. Can Drake find a way to get into this game? Just going to pass the turn back here. Here is Fatal Push.
Oh.
But Zachary Fleisher ready with the Stubborn Denial.
Yeah, that answer was very important. Avon Cloud Chaser? I don't remember the name of this card. We've got the deck list in front of us somewhere.
Yeah, I got to find that one.
So this is one that I've seen added to the decks recently that are playing Traverse the Uvenwald.
Windcaller Avon.
Windcaller Avon, thank you. So it cycles to give something flying.
Right. This is a Modern Horizons card.
Yes. And it makes a lot of sense. It puts another card in your graveyard that's a creature.
Right.
Which another card type for your Traverse the Uvenwalds and for your Termagoyfs.
Yeah.
And traditionally, creature is the hardest one for you to end up with in your graveyard.
Right.
And then in the mid-game to late game, it makes your very big Death Shadows have evasion.
Cool pickup.
Yeah.
These Traverse Death Shadow decks.
And then sometimes they play one of Liliana of the Last Hope.
Yeah.
And then you have access to that card later in the game if you want to give something flying again.
Sure, sounds great. I like it. 2 copies here for Zachary Fleischer. So Zachary is able to take down game 2 on the back of just some early beaters, early disruption. We saw a very timely Stubborn Denial. Protecting Collector Roof. Drake Sasser really never able to get anything going in that game. And now we're going to head to a decisive game 3. Players just sideboarding here. What do you think about the importance of play draw in present Modern? It's always been a huge, huge thing in the format. It feels a little amplified to me right now.
I was going to say, I think we always say that it is just so important or more important than ever. Mm-hmm. And it's just always true, right? Like, it's hard to overstate the value of that type of thing. Especially when the decks get more and more linear and it's harder and harder to keep up. It's harder and harder to answer the threats in the format. It's just super important to be playing from ahead.
I think that's definitely a bug with the Modern format. Seen some of that carry over to Standard with the addition of the 1-mana Accelerants Once Upon a Time, having the first Oko. All those things matter a lot.
Yeah, I think when the blue-white control decks were keeping the format in check, the play draw was not as important because they don't punish you by snowballing real hard when they're on the play. Right. And when they're on the draw and you're on the play, they've got enough clean answers to where you don't just run away from them with the game.
Sure.
But the blue-white deck is not super competitive right now. It is not able to keep up in the current format.
Yep.
And so play draw is massive.
Bit of a moper here from Drake Sasser. I saw 2 Thopter Foundries as well as a Whir of Invention. Can put together the combo real quick, but there's that one of Collector Roof again. Must be nice for Zachary Fleischer.
Yeah, we saw Drake get the Fatal Push stripped out of his hand. I think that's one of the reasons that he kept the hand.
Oh boy, look what's happening here though. Collector Elk now on the battlefield.
Dude, it's an elk party.
One of the cleanest answers to that card. But Zachary Fleischer has an explosive hand here. Follows up with Death Shadow and Tarmogoyf. So the pressure's here.
Yep, able to deploy a couple more elk.
Death's Elk, Tarma Elk. Might see a Mishra's Elk here. Nope, it's going to be Whir of Invention.
Oh, man. And this is big.
Whir for 3.
Yep.
It's Ensnaring Bridge. And that is going to blunt the offense as Oko pluses and makes a Tarmo Elk. And the turn heads back to Zachary Fleischer. Needs to get out from under this Ensnaring Bridge. Has an Oko. Ensnaring Elk.
Ensnaring Elk.
Not bad.
All the elk showing up to this one.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's saying, okay,
we are going to plus, make an Ensnaring Elk, and that means the Elk squad ready to rush in, take down Oko. Fleischer saying, I make the Elks here.
Elks for everyone. Let's not be greedy.
Second Thopter Foundry for Drake Sasser. Ensnaring Elk, going to go ahead and attack Oko.
Man, why did they make this card?
Greg, you accept this and you enjoy this match of Magic.
No!
This is what Magic is now.
I had a problem with it, and
Elks versus Elks theme deck.
Oh, wow. The Plague Engineer is pretty sweet here as well.
I mean, a little Plague Engineer action.
It might just be win more in this situation, but it is a nice insurance policy moving forward.
Shutting off any Thopter shenanigans as the Elk squad gets the beats going.
Unless he named Elk. Maybe he just wanted to make all the Elk smaller.
Maybe. Why not? Collector Elk, Tarma Elk. Death's Shadow. Beat down for Zachary Fleisher, and Drake Sasser is definitely with his back against the wall now. Takes a draw.
Everyone was trying to do cool things, and they all just end up with a bunch of elk.
That'll teach you. More elk beatdowns, it seems, from Drake Sasser. Turn heads back over to Zachary Fleisher. Drake had a precarious life total here. Looks like we're at the ready.
I believe it's an Assassin's Trophy.
That's going to do nothing, and that is going to get the handshake, and that means Zachary Fleisher takes down